Something I want to talk about today is the VC brand Flywheel. If you look at the top companies, A16, Y Combinator, they don't just write checks to a bunch of different companies. They're not just giving founders money. They focus very, very heavily on building content as well. A ton of blog posts, they're all over YouTube. I mean, every week I see Gary Chan in a new video. They create a lot of content. And if your VC is not making content, you're already behind the ball. The first reason this VC brand Flywheel is so important is it builds your firm's visibility. You get more attention and more eyeballs on you because all the startup people that you want to connect with, the founders, the top talent, the entire network, they're online. They consume content, whether it's on LinkedIn or YouTube, even X. These people are actively online. You need to create content to stay top of mind with them. This also amplifies your portfolio. If you as a VC brand are interviewing different founders that you work with and they have had recent growth or who've had, some type of success and you put them on your platform, you're going to attract more founders just like them. So it's like you send out a beacon and when you have a successful founder and you allow them to tell their story, now you bring other founders in who want to be just like that founder that you just presented. So one thing you need is founder enabled content, meaning you as a VC brand, you help these founders that you're investing in with growing their companies, not just with the insight and the connections and all of that stuff, with actual content. You have to prioritize that with every company. If you look at most of the biggest companies out there right now, they put out a ton of content. I know my favorite example is HubSpot. Like, look how much content HubSpot has put out over the years. Like a ridiculous amount of content, blog posts, lead magnets, webinars, just ridiculous boatloads of content. That's the same thing your brands need to be focused on. Maybe not in the same way, maybe not even the same amount, but in their own way, they have to be putting out that content. And that kind of leads me to my second point of the media strategy for your firm. Like, what kind of firm do you want to build in the content realm? Do you want to just focus on newsletters and podcasts? Or do you want to do YouTube videos every week and then have shorts all over Instagram? It really comes down to your content style and the messaging you want to send out to the world. But obviously, you don't want to do the same thing that every other brand is doing, every company is doing. You want to execute in your own way. But really, it's about having your own platform. That is just the biggest thing you can build here because these companies are doing it consistently, and that's why they're getting the top talent. I think one of the true missing gaps here is thought leadership. If you are a high level venture capitalist and you have worked with these successful companies, if you built your own successful company, you have to tell your story. Most of the founders out there, whether they just graduated from college or if they worked at Microsoft for 20 years and just got laid off, if they're a founder, they're looking to people like you to be experts in their world. Why not give them what they want? You simply telling a new story every week is more than enough to get you started to set that foundation, lay out that perception of your brand to attract more of those founders that you can invest in. And then everybody wins. So one of the best examples of this is A16Z. These guys are putting out a ton of content, whether it's on YouTube, on X, their website. They have a ton of content out there that anybody can go and consume. And this is perfect because if I'm a founder that's trying to find my way and I need some inspiration or some guidance on a particular topic, their brand comes top of mind. I know I can go straight to any platform and look up their content. Like on X, they've posted full 45-minute interviews. That's incredible. If this founder just blew up and, they got another investment of 100 million or something like that, or this founder grew their company to a certain level, I want to hear that story. As a founder myself, I need to hear that and consume that because it's inspiring. It's exciting. That's the content you as a VC should be putting out. Now, for you, it could be different. It may not be in the B2B software world or even B2C. It could be consumer products, right? It could be something like that. You don't have to just be in a software space. Pretty much with anything you want to cover, you can make content on it. Like, that's the best part about content is it doesn't have to be in this one particular way. It can be in so many different ways on so many different topics. So I want to list out a few more reasons why you should be doing this now and stop putting this off. Because when I talk to VCs on LinkedIn or at some of the events I go to, I hear the same thing. Oh yeah, we want to start a podcast. Hey, we thought about doing YouTube. It's always like something you want to do and you thought about it. So it's important. but you haven't executed. You being too stagnant. Like, you should be doing it. Stop hesitating. First issue is marketing is super noisy now. Like, if you're a VC, you know how competitive it is. Like, now there's about 3,500 VCs. And I remember doing my research, I learned that in the past like 10 years, it's blown up, it's exploded. So now it's like you have way more competition as a venture capitalist to give your money away. So if it's that much competition, you got to find a way to stand out, right? I'm pretty sure there are some founders you might have wanted to work with or connect with, and you didn't get the chance to because they picked some other company. The other company might have had more money or whatever it is, but really you could have did a lot more to get in front of that founder, to connect with the founder earlier in their journey, to prioritize them. So many different things you could have done. Content would help you stay top of mind. Another good thing about content is it builds trust at scale. There are some founders who want to go the bootstrap route because their perception of VCs is very negative. They believe VCs just want to take over your company and run it into the ground and take everything that you have. And obviously, that's not true for all VCs, but that's what founders believe. Now, if you're one of the venture capital companies that is putting out content, even if they did have that perception of you, it won't last for long because the content is going to separate you from the marketplace. You get more credibility, and content is the best way to build trust at scale. Instead of going and having this conversation with one founder and building trust, you build trust with the entire marketplace. Think about how fast that can happen. Within 3 months and 90 days, yes, that fast. With the right content strategy, you can build that trust with the marketplace. And I want to go back to my other points. I think the content is something that creates that moat beyond capital, right? Because if money is the only factor that a founder cares about, I'm pretty sure you as a VC probably don't want to work with that founder. That's all they really care about. That's the only thing. Nothing else matters. Not team, not purpose, not nothing. If it's just that's probably not who you ideally want to work with, right? I want to go back to one of my other points, the competitive moat. I think you can have something beyond capital, right? If you have content out there, because you're top of mind, they see you all the time, and everything that you're doing can be in the spotlight. Now, I know what you're thinking. You might be thinking I'm telling you to record every conversation you have with every founder and put it online. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not telling you to use proprietary information online. That would be insane. What you should be doing is telling the story of how these things go. If they were good or bad, talk about the great founders you work with, talk about the founders that, might have blundered. The companies that have succeeded, why did they succeed? And even telling your personal story as a VC and what you did with your own companies, huge separator. So there's not this one size fits all way when it comes to the content strategy, especially for VCs. I'm always shocked when I meet VCs who don't want to make content because it's like you have so many people in the world who want to hear from you. Regular, just everyday business people who just love business, and millions and millions of founders. I mean, a ton of college students. Like, I think a lot of engineers, people in that developer world and stuff like that, love to hear from VCs just to learn, just to hear your stories and your experiences. Like, you wearing that title of VC means something to a lot of people. So you can easily attract a lot of eyeballs and ears with that label alone. So just take advantage of it. One thing I do is build scalable content systems that founders can use. I also create 90-day campaigns that turn invisible GPs into thought leaders. The next generation of VCs will not just be investors, they're also going to be publishers. If you want more of your portfolio companies to win, let's work together on a content strategy for you.